Hello, welcome to the Hawthorn Cottage Podcast. This is episode 29. Today is Friday the 30th of November. I'm Kate. You can find me on Instagram as Kate_Hawthorncottagecraft, on Ravelry as ARunnerBean, and we have a Ravelry group for the podcast called Hawthorn Cottagecraft Podcast. And there you'll find show notes and general chit chat and introductions. So please feel free to come over and join us there too. If you're new to Hawthorn Cottage, you're very, very welcome. I hope you feel very welcome and that you enjoy the chat and the community that is here. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and joining me again in the cottage. Please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And thank you to everybody who has already subscribed to the channel. In episode 27, you will know that we reached over 3,000 subscribers, and there was a little giveaway running since then to say thank you to everyone who has joined me here and been part of this journey. I closed that today and drew for a winner, and the winner of the giveaway was Marta Kristen Congestall, which is probably completely the wrong pronunciation. I'll put your name at the bottom. If you are watching this, please send me a message on Instagram, a private message on Instagram or on Ravelry at ARunnerBean, just to let me know that you've seen this and to give me your Ravelry name so that I can give you the prize and your postal address so that I can pass you on the prize. And the prize that you have won is this beautiful skein of fine fish yarns, her core sock base, which is 75/25 superwash merino and nylon, and the colourway is Whatever Happened to Fairy Cakes. And there is also one of my bucket bags, which can be used for quite large projects. I put most sweater projects in this bag. You can do colour work, letting the colours thread through each of the poppers. So Marta, you have won this bag, and there are also some pins for you. Fine Fish Yarns enamel pins, her logo. And a pin from Makers Merch, which is a member of the Makers community. So those are all going to be on their way to you, Marta. There's also a pattern from Sandra C Designs, who is Sandra Knits on Instagram. When you have sent me your Ravelry name, I can let Sandra know, and then you can choose and arrange with her for a pattern to be sent to you from her shop, the pattern of your choice. So congratulations, Marta, and thank you to everybody who subscribed and who left comments. I read them all. I didn't want to comment on them. I think I've liked them all. Hopefully I haven't missed anybody. But thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed and who interacts with me on a daily, weekly, monthly basis through YouTube, through Instagram, or through Ravelry. Thank you so much for being part of my community. So I hope you have your cuppa as we set into discussing our knitting and all the other things that are going on within the knitting world. I want to begin by telling you about a very special event that is taking place next year. I'm giving you plenty of notice. It's from the 1st to the 3rd of November 2019, and this event is so exciting for me, and I really can't wait. The excitement levels are already building. Next November, Emma, who is Woolly Mammoth Fibre Company, I'm sure you all know her, we are hosting our first knitting retreat here in Northern Ireland. It has been held in Dromalis Retreat Centre, which is in Larne, County Antrim, and is at the very start of the beautiful Coast Road, North Antrim Coast. It's stunning, stunning scenery, and the setting for the retreat is beautiful. It's close to Belfast, so quite handy to get to. This retreat is called the Ullin Knitting Retreat, and Ullin is the Ulster Scots word for Ulster, and that is the area of Ireland that we are in. And the exciting part of the entire retreat is that we are having a very, very special guest speaker. If you are familiar with the Knitting Monk, who is Aidan, and he hosts the Maker's Pilgrimage podcast here on YouTube. Aidan is coming to be our special guest at the retreat, and he will host some sessions. Our retreat aim is that you relax and recharge and basically retreat, that you have time out of your normal everyday life to think about your making and just to enjoy it. Our purpose is that we have thoughtful making, sustainable making, and that very much falls into the ethos of Aidan's making, and I think that is what he will bring to our retreat. The tickets for the retreat will be going on sale on the 1st of February 2019, and that will be through the Woolly Mammoth Fibre Company website. But we'll let you know all the details, costs and tickets, when those will be available and how many places. There will be 17 places available for the retreat. So quite a limited number, but we want this to be a cosy, special time where people just get time to relax. So that is the big excitement for next year. Any other details or any other questions, please feel free to message me and I'll let you know as and when we have the information. It's not all completely set in stone yet, but know that it is the 1st to the 3rd of November 2019. Aidan the Knitting Monk is our special speaker, and the tickets will go on sale on the 1st of February. So that's the admin, I think, all done, and all the big exciting announcements. On to the knitting. I have a few finished objects this week. On the last episode, you will have seen that I had started a pair of socks when I was going to Rhinebeck. They were my travel knitting, and I think on the last episode I may have had one of them finished. I now have the complete pair of socks, and I've been dying to wear these, but I've tried to keep them nice and pristine to show you. These are my Ode to Autumn socks. And to me, we're just getting in before the Christmas season starts, so the autumn socks are getting seen. The colourway is Ode to Autumn, and it was by Fine Fish Yarns, and this was a special colourway that Terry dyed up for a group of us when we went to my first Atlantic Knitscape a couple of years ago now, and she had dyed up this little mini kit for us, and I've kept it until now, and I love this colourway. It really does scream autumn to me. The pattern that I knit for this was the Vanilla Natty socks. I wanted something simple for travel. I didn't want anything too complicated. So it's a 6x2 rib. The pattern is by Virginia Rose Jeans, and I think it's a free pattern on Ravelry. But it's basically a 6x2 rib. I did a 2x2 ribbed cuff, and then went into the 6x2 rib for the body of the sock. 64 stitches as per usual, a 2.5mm, which is a US 1.5 needle, which is my go-to size. The heel flap and gusset, I'm really into the heel flap and gusset again, and really enjoying knitting those. I just took the pattern from, I had knit a few pairs of Crazy Sock Lady design socks, and she does a slip stitch heel flap and gusset, and I just took the pattern from that. And then the toe. So it was lovely having the contrasting. That was part of the little kit, was the contrasting yarn for the heels and toes. So I'm absolutely delighted with these, and I'm delighted that I'm actually going to get wearing them, and whether it's Christmas or not, these are going to get worn. So that was the first finished object. The second finished object was just a little spur of the moment project that I hadn't planned to do. I never really gift knit, as you probably are very aware. Most of my knitting is for me. I have occasionally knit things for people, but it's not common, and I never really do Christmas gift knitting. But this year I decided, I had been toying with the idea of a gift knit for my husband, and it wasn't socks. because, as you know, that can take years. So I'd be planning for about 2022 to have him a pair of socks. But I decided I thought I would knit him a hat. He has hats, branded hats that he would wear for golf and when he's out for things like that. But I just wanted him to have a nice hat, simple hat. He likes simple, plain things. He doesn't like lots of pattern, and he certainly doesn't like bright colours. And a few weeks ago, when I was browsing Instagram as I do, I was so excited to discover that Belfast has a new yarn shop. Something that Belfast has lacked for the last few years is a really good yarn shop. And Folklore Yarns has opened in Belfast, and it is the most beautiful little shop. You may have seen my photographs on Instagram. I'll put them at the end of the podcast so that you can see them. It's a little coffee shop and yarn shop. So I headed up there and I spent the most wonderful morning drinking coffee. I finished my socks there. That's where I finished those. And had a little browse. And I'm not meant to be buying yarn, but this was for a Christmas gift. So I feel justified. It would have been a Christmas gift spend anyway. And I decided I would pick up some of this yarn. I have seen it, but I have never used it. It's West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft Shetland wool. So it's 100% Shetland. And I picked up this colour, which is a beautiful shade of grey. I'm not actually sure which of these is the colour on the label, but it's a grey. Lovely shade of grey. And I thought I will knit him a hat with this. It's Aran weight, it'll knit up quickly, and just something simple. So I came home with the skein of yarn with no particular hat in mind, but I thought it should be easy enough to find a hat pattern on Ravelry for Aran weight, and I did. I went and I browsed. The lovely thing about Ravelry is you put in exactly what you want. You want it to be Aran weight, you want it to be maybe a particular needle size, and it'll come up with all the patterns. Do you want a free pattern, a paid for pattern? All the things are there for you. So I looked it up, did a bit of a search, and I found a free pattern by Woolly Wormhead, and it's the classic beanie. Now, I don't know if it's actually, the photograph on the pattern is a child. I don't know if it's meant to be a child's hat, but it's just a simple hat, and I knit the largest size, and I have this beautiful beanie. I wanted a rolled up brim, so I knit this on 5mm needles. It took a couple of days at the most to knit this, and it was just a really simple, straightforward pattern. I will put it on. So that is the beanie, and as I said, it's a free pattern, and Woolly Wormhead's patterns are wonderful. She does some very detailed, some beautiful designs and almost engineered hats, but I wanted something very simple, and she has those as well, and I'm delighted with this. It was the largest size, as I said, and with Aran there's plenty of space. It fits me. I would say he has a slightly smaller head than me, so it'll definitely fit him, and I will put that away for him for Christmas. He'll be probably quite surprised that he's got a hand knit Christmas present, but I just thought it was lovely, and he will get a lot of use out of this colour, and as I said, it's a simple classic design that really I can't go wrong with. So those were my finished objects for knitting. I do have a few finished objects to show you that is very unusual of late for me. When I started this podcast, I was making a lot of project bags and selling them on Etsy, and my Etsy shop has been on hiatus for, I would say, nearly a year. I had a bit of burnout with bag making, but I'm starting to feel the love for the machine again, and I started to think about possibly getting back into bag making, and I looked through the fabrics that I have, and I found some Christmassy fabrics, so I decided I would put together some Christmas bags and let you see them. So you saw earlier the style of the bucket bag that would have been my main kind of signature bag. So I have 2 of those, very Christmassy Christmas gifts. I have this one, which is, I call it my Narnia bag. I have one of these and it just reminds me of Narnia, which is my all-time favourite collection of stories. So there's that one. So I have 2 of those, and then I have 3 little drawstring, just very simple drawstring bags that are perfect for socks. The bucket bags, as I said earlier too, I can put 2-3 skeins in here and a sweater project. They're a bit like a TARDIS. They're a lot bigger than you would think. But these are very much sock sacks, and we have the Christmas gifts again. There's a little Christmas town one and little Christmas trees. And they will hold a single skein project without a problem. A hat, socks, maybe a small shawl would fit in these. They're a 1 skein project bag. So I have beavered away and made 5 bags, not a huge amount, but it's just given me, let me put my toe in the water again. These will be available on Etsy from tomorrow if you are in the mood for a new bag. The Christmas Eve cast on will be coming up, maybe a Christmas gift for somebody else or for yourself. So that's my little bit of self-promo of bag making. So the Etsy shop is Hawthorn Cottage, and I'll put the link to that in the show notes as well, so that you can easily get there. But it's Hawthorncottagecraft on Etsy. So those are all the finished projects, knitting and sewing. I have quite a few things that I'm working on at the moment. I'm trying my best to get a lot of them off the needles before the end of the year, which is what, 4 weeks away? This year has just thundered through. Tomorrow's the 1st of December. But I want to get some of these off the needles, and I'm making steady progress on them. I finished my autumn socks, as you saw, so I cast on another pair of socks. Last weekend was the start of the Christmas season, really, in this house. We celebrate Thanksgiving in this house. We have no American ties, no American affiliations at all. There are no American family members. But after a holiday there a few years ago, the kids wanted to celebrate Thanksgiving, so I thought, why not? And we did that, I think that particular November, and it has become a fixture. They enjoyed it, and Peter enjoyed it so much that it's now requested and every year. So in November we celebrate Thanksgiving with all my lovely American friends, and it's a full works. We have the full meal and the house is decorated, because we do have so much to be thankful for, and I think it is a tradition that other people should employ just for the thankfulness part of the tradition. Anyway, Thanksgiving took place on the Thursday, and the following day the Christmas decorating started. Once we have our Christmas decorations finished and the lights are on, our tradition is to have just the Christmas lights on, put on the Polar Express and drink hot chocolate. Every year it is the first movie of Christmas. And that was a long-winded way to tell you that I cast on a pair of socks, and I have jingle bells on my bag, so I'll try not to jingle them. I cast on a pair of socks based on the Polar Express. When I was in Rhinebeck at Needles Up, I went to the Legacy Fibre Arts stall, and their Christmas colourways this year were based on the Polar Express, and I had to get some. And I bought this colourway, which is hot chocolate. And it is the most beautiful colour of yarn ever. It really does make me think of hot chocolate, with the marshmallows and the cream and the chocolate. And when my kids were digging into theirs, when we put up the tree, I started my socks. I had actually started them just before because I needed a bit of light, because I decided I would knit this pattern, which had been published that particular weekend. the weekend before. And this is the Pebbles and Pathways socks by Marcelin Smith, who you all know as Mars, who is Hey Brown Berry on Instagram and on YouTube here. And I bought this pattern because it just looked that little bit different from anything I've been knitting. And it was also going to be a bit of a challenge for me, which I was wanting to take. I wanted to take the challenge. I always knit my socks top down, cast on at the cuff and work my way down. I have knit in the past 1 or 2 pairs of toe-up socks, and I think I tried 2 at a time, which was not for me. And it had put me off trying toe-up socks. But I decided I would try this pattern it is written as a toe-up sock. And I had to go and look on YouTube for a tutorial on how to cast on Judy's Magic Cast On. And I found Judy Becker, who was the creator of that cast on. I found her tutorial. There are lots out there. Nathan, who's Sockmatician, has a tutorial on how to cast on Judy's Magic Cast On. But I went to Judy Becker's own tutorial and found it really, really helpful. And got the socks cast on before the movie started. And I actually got quite a lot done in the last week. I got my toe cast on. I increased up to my 64 stitches, and then I started into the pattern. And it's a beautiful pattern, if you can see it. It is cable, and then it is garter stitch across the top of the foot and cable again. And at the moment for the foot, the back of it is stocking stitch. But isn't that colour just gorgeous, the way that's knitting up? That is just beautiful. I'm really enjoying knitting these socks. It's become my morning knit when the cat allows, because he sits on my knee in the morning. But I love this knit. It's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. As I said, this is Legacy Fibre Arts. It's their Cozy Toes, which is an 80-10-10 superwash merino cashmere nylon. So it just feels luxurious to knit. And the pattern is wonderful. So if you haven't seen the Pebbles and Pathways pattern, go and have a look at it. It's on Ravelry now, and you will really enjoy this knit. So I have cast that on. It's 2.5mm. I didn't tell you that, but it's the norm. 2.5mm US 1.5. So that's the socks that I have on the needles at the moment. I'll just put that down out of the way. The next work in progress is being housed in this beautiful bag, not made by me. This is made by Mary, who is Mary and the Mutts on Instagram. I'll put her name down at the bottom here, and who has Mary's Makery shop on Etsy. I'll put all those details in the show notes. And she sent me this beautiful Christmas bag. Isn't that just gorgeous? It's quilted, it's holding a sweater, it's huge, but it has this beautiful hand embroidered snowman on the front. And Mary very kindly sent me this little kit, and this kit is for the snowman embroidery. And this is for one of you, so that you can, if you have fabric that you want to make a bag with, you can. But this little embroidery comes with the hoop, so that you can actually just keep it as a decoration in the hoop. You can do whatever you like with it. But this little snowman embroidery is up for grabs, and I'm actually going to run that and give that away on Instagram. So go over to Instagram and you will find the post there about this, and I'll be giving that away. I'm keeping that open until Friday the 7th, so just for a week. So this day next week, Friday the 7th of December, I'll draw for that so that I can get it in the post, and you may get it before this Christmas, and you can maybe work on it over Christmas. So this was just one of the ideas she had for what to do with it, was this bag. And this is what you will get, the kit to make the snowman. So go over to Instagram and get a chance. And thank you very much, Mary, for both the bag and for the kit for the viewers. But in this bag is my breakwater sweater. And this is the sweater that I am knitting. Breakwater by Cecily Glowick MacDonald, and I've been working on that since I went away in October as well. I just love this project. It has been such a joy knitting this, and I'm well on with it. I'm really pleased with how it has progressed. I'm knitting it in John Arbon textiles, and it's the Harvest Hues, which is Falklands Merino, organic Falklands Merino, 65%, and 35% Swartbulls. And it's just the softest, beautiful yarn. I love the colour. Pomegranate is the colourway. This is a top-down sweater, and this is how far I am. All curled up. I have the body of it finished, and I have the first sleeve. It's a 3/4 length sleeve, which is unusual for me, but I think it'll be a really pretty sleeve. I think this will be more a spring sweater anyway. It's lovely and light. It's a fingering weight yarn. So I have that done, and I'm ready now to pick up the stitches again and work on the second sleeve. It's a raglan neckline, shoulder, light is blowing out a wee bit today, and it's just really been a joy to knit. The needle size is a 4.5mm, which is a US 7, and for the neckline and the hem and the cuffs it was a 3.75, which is a US 5. But with that size of needle on a fingering weight yarn, it's going so quickly. I love the stitch detail at the neck. I don't know if you can see that very well. It's a woven stitch. I don't know. You can maybe see it. And that's echoed on the cuffs. Again. There we go. And on the bottom of it is, actually the bottom of its rib. I tell a lie, the bottom of its rib. And I did a tubular bind off, which was new for me and took a little time and concentration. So the woven stitch, I amend that, the woven stitch is on the collar and on the cuffs. But it's been a really pleasant knit, and hopefully tonight I'm going to get the stitches lifted for the second sleeve. I would love to have this finished by the end of next week so that I can wear it maybe although I think it will, as I said, be a good spring kind of sweater. I think over the Christmas period, if I was going out somewhere, it would be lovely, because just the colour is so rich and to me so Christmassy, that pomegranate deep red colour. So it's a beautiful drapey fabric, and I think it's actually going to be quite warm. But it drapes so nicely, and it'll be lovely when it's blocked out. It'll take out, I think, the kinks, and I don't like the way it is curled here, but I think blocking will solve that. So I'm really pleased with it. There's nothing very much more to say about it. It's a really pleasant knit. It's, I would say, a fairly beginner friendly knit. Bit of experience maybe, but it's not a difficult knit at all. And I think it'll be lovely. It's got waist shaping, a little bit of waist shaping, and I think it'll be quite a flattering look. I'll have to find a couple of little buttons just to finish off the detail at the neckline here. They're decorative rather than useful. So that's the breakwater sweater that I'm working on. I also had another cast on. I don't think I had it cast on the last episode, and I'm doing another beta knit for the fibre company. If you recall, I knit a sweater back in the spring for the fibre company and that I wore at Rhinebeck, and I'm again doing a bead in it for the fibre company. I really enjoy the yarn, the fibre company yarn, and I'm using a different one this time. I'm using Luma, and Luma is a double knit yarn. It's 50% merino, 25% organic cotton, 15% linen and 10% silk. So Luma has been around for a little while. Some of you may have knit with it, and it is perfect for the project that I am working on. I can't show you a picture of the finished project, what it will look like. That will be a surprise. It's coming out in 2019. It's from their Foundations Spring Summer 2019, and if you look at the hashtag, which I'll put down below, which is Foundations SS19, you will see the bits and pieces and little previews of the projects that all the beta knitters are doing. There are quite a few in the collection, and again, it's a combination of accessories and garments. I am really enjoying what I have done so far. It is, as I said, Luma, and it's this beautiful shade of greeny blue. I can't remember off the top of my head what the colourway was, but I think it's Aegean, possibly. And the pattern that I am knitting is Heritage Coast by Verena Kors. So this is what I can show you so far. It's a cardigan that I'm knitting, and just look at the stitch definition on that yarn. It is beautiful. This is a perfect spring summer sweater, particularly for this part of the world. I think it's got a little bit of warmth because of the wool content. It's certainly there. I think it'll be a cozy cardigan, but because of the cotton and the linen, it's cool enough for those cooler spring summer evenings to throw on, and the silk in it is giving it beautiful drape. So that is what I have done so far. I'm just working away. I have about another 9 or 10 inches to go before I do the split for the underarm. It's a long garment, but I'm loving it. I'm working away at this. I do a little bit. The rows are quite long because it's all knit in one piece, but I'm just working away at it quite happily, and it really is a pleasure to knit. And because the pattern appears through the row, it breaks it up a little bit, and it doesn't feel as though it's taking very much time at all. So that'll be something to keep a wee eye out for. It's, as I said, something I can't show you in its finished form until it's released, but just little sneak previews of this, and I'm really enjoying knitting it. It's nice having the two projects on the go, actually, because I'll work on one for a while, set it down, and then when I'm kind of getting a bit fed up with the long rows, I'll pick up the other one, and because it's the sleeves, it's really quick. So it's really nice having, I know there are a lot of people who are very monogamous knitters. I just am not and never will be. I can't do that. I don't have the concentration span for that. But I'm enjoying both these projects because they have the contrast for me of the longer rows and the shorter rows. So that's my fibre company knit. I'm delighted that they've chosen me again to do that. So those are the knitting works in progress. I have another work in progress that has taken many forms over the last 2 or 3 years, I would say, and it's only now that I have found the form that I'm really enjoying. There was a craze, and I'm sure it's still there, for the Cozy Memories blanket, where people were knitting the little squares with their leftovers and attaching, just knitting as they went. And some beautiful blankets have been knit. And I decided when that craze had started that I would jump on that particular bandwagon and do it as well. And I had knit quite a long width of squares, but I'd only one row done, and I found them tediously boring. It's funny, I can knit on a sweater for hours, which is a big project. Ask me to knit something small like a square. I have tried to knit dishcloths and I get so bored, so bored. And that was my problem with the Cozy Memories square blankets. I just was getting bored. I was knitting quite a big square with the fingering weight yarn. Then I tried it with a smaller square and I thought, well, that's going to take even longer to actually get a blanket from. And it has been languishing in a bag really for years. Then I decided maybe I will crochet one. Last Christmas I had done the Advent, it was 2 Christmases ago, I did the Advent blanket. I used the Opal Advent calendar 2 years ago, and made a small lap blanket. And I thought, well, do I do granny squares for this Cozy Memories blanket? And the thought of doing those and joining them didn't appeal. The one thing that has always at the back of my mind appealed to me was the granny stripe blanket. I've seen quite a few on Instagram and on podcasts where people have been working granny stripes, and they've taken the pattern from Attic24, her website. I link that, and she gives the instructions on how to do a granny stripe blanket. And I thought, right, I would like to do that, but the one thing that puts me off is doing the chain. Trying to count the chain just always put me off, because I wanted a sizable blanket. I knew I'd have a lot to chain, and that has always put me off. So I thought, do I do something else with the crochet? And I started a corner to corner blanket where you start with 1 or 2 and it just builds up and up and up, which was fine. But I didn't like the look of it. I wasn't particularly happy with it. So it got frogged, and the Cozy Memories squares got frogged. And I had watched Inside Number 23 about a month or so ago, 2 months ago, when she was doing Vlogtober. And Katie had shown a little tutorial on how to do a magic ball with the magic knots, and I thought that was amazing, because that is the other thing that had put me off all these Cozy Memories projects, was the thought of all those ends to weave in at the end. I thought that would just drive me to distraction. I don't know if I'm particularly fussed on the feel of the knots, but I think that is getting kind of pulled into the project and you don't really feel them. So I decided, with all the yarns from all the different scraps that I had tried, and I would do a magic ball. And this is actually the end of the second magic ball that I have created. And I'm finding this amazing. It has meant that since I started my project, which I'll show you in a minute, it's just zooming through. I'm just working away, and when this one's done, if you see that basket there, that's full of minis that people have given me. I have also all the odds and ends of socks that I have finished that I haven't put into minis yet. So I have a lot that I can still make more magic balls with and work on my project. I decided not, although I've talked about this Cozy Memories, I've decided to call it my friendship blanket, because it is actually not memories. There are memories of some projects I've made in this, but the majority of minis I've got are minis that people have given me. So they're not memories of my projects, but they're memories of my friends and the people I have met along the way. So this is my friendship blanket. And I decided I would go with the granny stripe. I would bite the bullet and I would do the chain. And as I said, I wanted a sizable blanket. So I think I have over 400 chain in this. The blanket is, to make the blanket, you need a multiple of 3 plus 2 extra stitches. And I think I have over 400. And when you see the width of it, you will see why. This easily goes over the width of my bed and falls quite far down the sides. So it's that wide. But I am loving this. I can't crochet for very long at a time. I get strain in this thumb when I crochet. It must be the way I hold the hook. But I am loving this. I keep this beside my chair, and usually at the end of the night when I've kind of my brain is done knitting, I lift this and I'll do a row. I'll do a colour, and it's just very random. There are colours in here that I wouldn't normally choose. They wouldn't be colours I would knit with. You will see some of the colours I knit with are here. I think the first few rows were very much me to an extent. We have some psychedelic colours in there that are not my colourway, and I've had to kind of let go of the OCD and matching colours and making sure one colour blends with the next. I have just literally made the magic ball, and as they come, they go on. And do you know what? I absolutely love this. And one of the reasons I love it is my friendship blanket. My friends come in all shapes, forms, personalities, and it reflects everybody. So this very much is my friendship blanket. It reflects all the personalities that are within my friendship group and within the people I have met. And I love it, and all their likes. And when I look at colours, I can go, oh, that reminds me of, and this reminds me of that person. And it's just wonderful. And although it's not very deep, it's at a stage where even now, because of the kind of sheer width of it, when it's lying on my lap, it heats me up and warms me, and it is cosy. And I am loving this project, and I never thought I would say that. My fibre journey, although I learned to knit as a child and didn't learn to crochet until about 10 years ago, crochet was my first fibre addiction. It's what got me into fibre. I had always had it on my New Year's resolutions to learn how to crochet, and finally I did it. And I crocheted for a long time, and I have blankets in the house that I've crocheted. And then it encouraged me back into knitting, and knitting completely took over. And crochet hadn't been something I had picked up a lot of recent years. But I am loving this project. It is just wonderful. And this will go on for a long time, because although I have a lot of minis left, it takes up a lot. And this will go on for years until it's at a level where it is a properly usable blanket. But I don't mind. I don't mind the slow pace of it. As I say, it's to pick up one that I can do at different stages. But isn't it beautiful? So that's the granny stripe blanket that is from Attic 24. And I just love how random it is. It's so cozy. So that's all my works in progress. A lot on the go. There are things that are kind of sitting on the back burner at the moment. My Kate cardigan is on the back burner at the moment, and there are a couple of shawls and bags that haven't been looked at in months. But we're just working our way through. There's no pressure, there's no shoulds, should nots. It's all meant to be relaxed and fun, and I'm really enjoying what I'm working at the moment. In terms of events coming up, although again it is a bit in the distance, the 14th and 15th of June 2019 is the Woolen Yarn Festival in Dublin. We had our first one last year in May, and it was a wonderful event, and it's all go for June. Now, by the time you've seen this, the classes will already have been up. They go up this afternoon at 4 o'clock. And this year I am going to do a class. I don't normally do classes at events. I was to go to one last year and then didn't actually make it that day. But I am going to a class this year if I can get my trigger finger ready at 4 o'clock this afternoon when the classes become available. If you are interested in one of the woolen classes, check the woolen website, and I'll put that along the bottom here, and see what's still available. There is a brilliant array of tutors coming this year. There was a couple of classes have tempted me, and hopefully I've one that I really want to get, and hopefully I'll get it and I'll be able to tell you what I've got the next time. So go to the Woolen Yarn Festival website and you will see whether there are still classes available, and please come to it. It's a brilliant event. Edinburgh Yarn Festival's in March, and the planning and excitement is already starting there. I'm looking forward to that one as well. So those are a couple of events to look forward to next year. That's really all I have I'm thinking of doing Vlogmas. I'm not 100% sure. By the time you see this, maybe it'll be evident whether I'm doing it or not. It's something I'm toying with the idea. I know there are a lot of Vlogmas videos out there, so you might be inundated and overloaded with them, but we'll see how it goes. It was really good fun last year, and hopefully maybe this year I'll be able to do it too, and that'll start tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. There's a lot on. It's that exciting time of the year. The Christmas lights are up, which makes the house cozy and warm and lifts from the dark nights and grim weather that we're having. It's nice to come into the house to the light, and just there's a lot going on that's exciting, and it's a good time of the year, and I hope you're enjoying it, whatever you celebrate, that you're enjoying these weeks. I hopefully will see you again very soon. Please hop over to Instagram and enter the giveaway for the embroidery kit. Marta, if you could get in touch with me about your prize. And as well, actually, I should mention before I go, I did a book review on the new Making Stories book, Jewels, which you will find on the channel on YouTube. You will hear all about that book, and there's a giveaway there for that as well. So there's lots of nice little things that you can take part in. Have a lovely few weeks, and I will hopefully see you again very soon.